cutting edge guests, awesome, uncensored, jaw-dropping information, plus funny memes, good deeds, and loads of laughter. Kind of have it all. Ladies and gentlemen, if your soul is awake, then welcome, because you're in the right place. Welcome back to the Sovereign Soul Show. We stand for love, levity, and liberty, you divine lions and lionesses. And we are about to kick off another episode of Keys of Creation. We'll be discussing the God-level weapon that ends wars. I'm joined by SEAL Team 6 veteran, remote viewer, and super soldier Michael Jaco. And we're going to have a profound conversation as a Reiki Master, myself, exploring the greatest force in the universe for our spiritual awakening, love, and why it may be humanity's most powerful, untapped hidden technology for ascension. Drawing from extraordinary real-world combat experiences in remote influence, consciousness, and non-kinetic conflict resolution, Michael's going to reveal how focused intention, compassion, and elevated frequency can transform outcomes without a shot being fired, awakening a deeper spiritual sovereignty within each of us to also unleash optimal wellness and our new earth in the Great Awakening. We'll be discussing the heart's mind and emerging light, frequency, and Star Trek-like technologies to enhance all of our lives. Share this with patriots everywhere, and we look forward to seeing you in the live chat. We're back on this wonderful April the 29th for everybody. And as you know, I said the sound of unlimited love, as you've been with me for 4 years, coming up next month in 2 days. It's the sound of unlimited love. That's our soul. It's infinite. And we are just living this wonderful experience in this physical creation in our bodies. And that is a very powerful thing to tap into, because I've been saying as a Reiki Master before doing the podcast, and then I listened to Michael. I got introduced to him by watching him on Gaia with Emery Smith go through his past life regressions as a super soldier. Then I was very fortunate to meet him and Tracy Joe Jaco as I took his remote viewing class and spent a few days learning remote viewing from this incredible man. And then now here we are continuing with this series together in the Keys of Creation, and we're business partners with the incredible LifeWave on the #1 team on the planet, helping raise the ascension vibe. So love, levity, and liberty has 4 deep, profound meanings to this show. And I bring Michael in a moment. Love, as you know, the most powerful power in the universe, multiverse, whatever you want to call it. Levity stands for 2 things. That's elevation of your vibration, and like laughter is the best medicine, Reader's Digest, right? And then that gives you liberty. Liberty, sovereignty is what it is all about. And here is the man, not a myth, and a total legend, by the way, Michael Jaco. Thank you very much for being here again, Michael. Thank you, sir, for your service, and also Tracy Joe for hers, for being absolute warriors of light on this earth, and really helping out mankind and everybody.
Yeah, Brad. So, all the stuff that we talked about up to this point brings us to the most valuable point of all. And that is using our consciousness to basically cancel out war. And that's what I've been able to do. Of course, there's steps to that process, and we've gone over a lot of those steps. So I look forward to, revealing in this show, how people can start to use their consciousness, the love vibration, focusing their prayer and so forth into creating a world that, has no more war.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing. And the time is so apropos, Michael, because just moments before coming on our live stream here right now, the White House Trump put out that we are releasing the UFO files and the alien files imminently. And then Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna said that they are interdimensional, maybe not aliens, angels, demons, but interdimensional characters. She still can't wrap her head around that. All this in the last few minutes before we came on here. And I bring that up for everybody because it's important that we recognize there are things we know we don't know yet, and we might not know everything during this spirit walk on earth in your physical body. Every one of the divine lions and lionesses watching and listening to this. But if you just suspend judgment about the indoctrination we've all went through and been taught, and open this up and feel into our heart center, that would be amazing. I used to have a crystal bowl here and I broke it, but this would kind of be the time to just bring a vibration. I ask everybody just, breathe in, nostril breathing right into your diaphragm, relax, and listen to what Michael is probably the best man on the planet right now to teach you and tell you and show you the receipts. But what he is able to do with the frequency of love in literally extinguishing terrorists and, in my opinion, preventing actual wars from breaking out in conflicts.
Yeah. So in the beginning, there was light, and, in the Bible. So we are light beings, and we're frequency. So when you understand that very basic thing, then you can, move to incredible levels of consciousness with that, understanding. So that's what it was for me. And like Brad, you started out, just taking that deep breath. It kind of puts you in a meditative state. You look at my background, you see the wonderful trees and the forest and so forth, being in an environment that's very grounding, very, frequency based, that puts us in a very good vibration. So you can always bring that to any situation that's stressful for you. So most of you are not going to be in combat, right? And I know a lot of you, look up to people that have been in combat and have persevered through combat and so forth. I can tell you the guys that didn't have the right frequency, state of mind, they didn't make it. And I have a lot of friends and I know a lot of people that were angry, fearful, and so forth, and they're no longer with us. So, it became very obvious to those of us that survived over a period of time that your consciousness was very important. And so if we would get anyone into our group that would start to talk negatively or so forth, we would either tell them that they needed to correct that, or they're going to have to go away, because our group was very focused and we never had any problems. Every group that I was ever with, we never had problems. And we persevered and we did unbelievably impossible things, whether it was in the SEAL teams or the CIA. I've always been able to, adapt to any environment and persevere and even prosper and thrive. So that's the gift that these consciousness states will give you. And I know, Brad, you have different videos that you can show us of people with this frequency light that everybody would understand. Let's look at some of those.
Yeah, I think we should go right for the number one man now that we just brought it up, and that is Bruce Lee. So the video we're going to show you, everybody, kicking it off right here. When you talk, would you set this up right before I go to the video, Michael, about consciousness states, because you developed the first hand-to-hand program and knife fighting program in the SEAL teams. And you've mentioned many times on your shows and on other shows and here on this show too, that it takes you to another level of consciousness. So if you could just set this up for us before what they see on this Bruce Lee clip we're going to play, which is back in the 1970s.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll help them realize that, these things that Joshua could do, you could do in greater maybe.
Yeah. So Bruce Lee developed an art called Jeet Do. And when I was at SEAL Team 6, the SEAL teams for a long time didn't have a martial art that we would all do. We would do it off on our own. We would learn. Some guys would get some good information and bring it in, and we'd learn from them. Or you go to schools on your own. But there was no, believe it or not, there was no, martial art that was taught in the SEAL teams, and that was for a very, very long time, for decades and decades. And then we had when I was at SEAL Team 6, we had a gentleman that had Paul Vunak, who had trained with the gentleman that Bruce Lee had trained. So he was like a third generation from or second generation from Bruce Lee, and he was very, very effective. So he came in and he taught us, and I was one of the guys that worked with him, and me and maybe less than a handful of guys, took it to another level. I did exceptionally well with it. I was very interested in it. I just naturally, progressed in that style. And I thought it was like, the best of the best, because, here's Bruce Lee. He went to all the different martial arts and he studied them, and he's like, I'll take a piece of that. I'll take a piece of that. And he formed Jeet Do. So we were of the opinion that Jeet Kune Do was like the best of the best, and we focus on that. We're good. But I eventually would go on and learn other martial arts skills, and it would take me to an even greater level, because there's always that potential to move higher in consciousness, to develop your skills, to develop your awareness. Because a lot of these things, like you're going to see with Bruce Lee here, he had activated his brain on a different level. And that's what I started to learn after I learned the Jeet Kune Do stuff. I started to learn the brain waves and so forth. And once I started understanding that and the meditation, I was able to reach these unbelievable levels of feat and abilities that, you know, don't come unless you're in those states of consciousness. And those states of consciousness eventually would lead me to using them in combat and starting to focus on the people that were trying to kill us. And we'll talk about that in more detail after this amazing video.
All right. Excellent.
Put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
You and Tracy Joe need to get a ping pong table, and I'll leave it to you guys to figure out who's going to use the nunchucks.
Yeah, right. So if you were to watch him, a lot of times you'll see he's not looking directly, because directly is activating the brain on a beta level. And when you use the peripheral view, you're activating the alpha brainwave. So there's cones and there's rods in the eye, and one or the other is going to activate the beta and the alpha. Now, having said that, you can activate both of them and activate gamma. So gamma brainwaves are a whole different, it's like normally doesn't exist in the brain. But when you activate the beta and the alpha, which I'm sure he was in that state, you reach levels of capability, like I was talking about, they're unbelievable. People that the monks were able to do this. The Buddhist monks can do this when they're highly trained, and they can sit in snow for hours overnight, and it won't affect them because they're in that level of consciousness. In fact, everything melts around them. Their body heat, picks up, and they actually melt, and they're steaming and all kind of crazy stuff. So We have these potentials. Now, how can you use that is in consciousness states and so forth, like we're talking about, projecting, remote influencing stuff. Now, I've taught this, and you've been to courses where I've taught this, where I can have groups that, initially, I'm showing you that you have basically these energy fields around you. I can manipulate those energy fields, right? I can push them physically. I'll do a muscle test where the arms are up and you're strong, and then drop the arms, and then I'll just sweep my hands along your side, which basically takes your energy fields and lowers them, because I'm pushing them, physically pushing them. You can see it. And then people raise their arms and they're weak because their energy field is down. If I reverse the process, they would be strong the other way. But that is something that people can physically see that process, where there are energy fields that you cannot see normally. You can train yourself to see energy fields as well, but normally most people can't see those energy fields, right? So if you were to, take someone that's in the gamma ray level of consciousness, you would see their energy fields are like just expanded, and very, very much expanded. And from that energy field expansion, they can do things with the energy field, like you saw with Bruce Lee, right? So what I'll do is I'll have them, drop the arm, and then I don't tell them that I'm going to mentally sweep them. I'm imagining that I'm sweeping them with my hands, but not physically doing it. And then they'll raise their hands or arms, and I'll press, and they're weak, and they're like, well, what happened? I didn't physically see, you do something. It's usually a mind-blowing when people have their energy fields moved. And now we go to another level with that mind blown, and you don't even have to have a physicality there. You have a consciousness state that can maneuver and manipulate and, push energy fields and so forth. So then we go to another level where I have them protect themselves and surround themselves with, a love energy, think love. And I can sweep them. I'll physically sweep them. So you see, I'm physically sweeping you, and they're strong because they have gone into that consciousness field and started to use it for themselves. All right. And then I'll have the audience do the same thing. I'll have them just stay blank. I'll sweep them, and I'll have the audience project love to them. And they're like crazy strong, right? Stronger than anything that they can physically do or project or anything like that, because they have all these people in the room that are projecting energy at them. And I can reverse that process and have them send fear or anger at someone, and I won't sweep them or anything. I'll just come up and boop, they're super, super weak, because we see this happen to us all the time. In we'll use COVID as an example. They had, all day long, they had, COVID deaths, and, you need to go get your vaccination or granny's going to die. And, all these different things that they were using to create fear. And that was affecting people's energy fields and making them vulnerable. And they were staying inside. They weren't going outside, grounding themselves. Right. I was making sure I was grounding myself in that time frame. I would go into the woods around Lake Tahoe when you weren't supposed to. That you're supposed to stay inside. And they had all the forest blocked off. They had signs up and everything. I'm like, that's bullshit. I just went out in the woods and I stayed in the woods all day. But, most people were in that fear state, and they were watching the TV. They were hearing all these people say, you're going to die. And if you don't get the vaccination, if you died in a motorcycle accident, they tested you. Oh, you had COVID, so we really died of COVID. So it was just a massive fear campaign. But you could have protected yourself by staying in the love vibration.
Yep.
Or grounding yourself, or getting in the sunlight, or connecting with people like we are connecting with everyone here on a positive level. And that really raises your consciousness, raises your vibration, and keeps you in that love vibration. Now, let's take it to a very negative force, where we've talked about in the past how I went against who I didn't know at the time, Zarqawi, right? So I was like remote viewer at the time. I started using remote viewing.
Is this before or after the Archangel Michael near-death experience? Was Zarqawi was before or after?
This is before. So okay. I was not very skilled in going against demons at the time. I learned the hard way. So I'm doing remote view. I'm like, who's causing, because we had months at the time of, people getting blown up. My friends were getting blown up and killed. And there was a sectarian war between the Sunni and the Shia that had been kicked off to basically go against the American military, which was a plan that Saddam Hussein and his generals had to go into this guerrilla warfare in case he ever had his government taken down like we did. So I remote viewed. I'd been very, very skilled at remote viewing for a while, for probably well over a year. And I was very accurate. So it was like, okay, who's doing the attacks? Who's in charge of this? So if you want to stop attacks, if you want to have a problem solved, you go after the head of the snake, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, who is it? And I saw this man, and he was Zarqawi, right? And I didn't know at the time who this guy was. And so over time, I would find that out, but it would take a year. So I'm remote viewing. I see this guy that I would know as Zarqawi. That's the look, as you're going to, maybe I can share it with you in a minute here. Sure. Zarqawi he's very evil looking, man. And that came from the demon that was attached to him. So, I'd heard people talk about how they would fight demons and so forth. And I'm like, I guess I'll go see, how good my skills are, because I'm so good at martial arts. No one's ever defeated me, so I'm gonna go and see what I can do here. Whole different realm. So I went and I saw this guy Zarqawi, and his demon like came off, saw me in spirit form looking at him. Okay, and then he came at me. I was like, whoa, this is way over my head. I'm like, boop, back in my body. I was like, I sat up. I'm like, whoa, that demon was badass. So 2 days later, that's when I'm floating on my body dead. All right. So these demons can influence other people. So if I'm a threat, which some of us are to, the evil side, they can send demons, kind of like, the Matrix, where, the
agents,
the Mr. Wilson, is it Wilson? Which one is it?
I know you're talking about the agents. The agents take
so
over
agent
people's bodies and influence.
One of the head agent that would come after the top guy, and so he would jump in other bodies, and they'd go, and then he'd come at them. It's like crazy. So that's what demons can do. So they obviously, this demon that I had confronted jumped in some other bodies, and they actually rocketed the position, because normally they were mortaring us every night. And during the night, we would have like a C-130 with cannon and other stuff, Gatling guns and so forth, and grenade launcher on it. I've been in those; they're pretty badass. But they have all this technology. So if someone mortared us, they would like hammer them. So the first time we ever got a rocket attack, Katyusha rocket, they're fairly accurate, right? They pretty much go within, certain yardage of where their intended target is. So they came right at my trailer, right? And blew up. And now I'm talking to you, of course, and you're like, we're still here. Yeah. Because what happened is, after I'm dead, I'm thinking I have an out of body experience. I'm like, oh, I'm floating. And I heard, look down at your body so you get, connection with that. So I look down and I'm dead. I'm blown to pieces. And there's destruction all around where this rocket hit. And I was like, God, this is such a bummer because I'm getting really good at, this stuff. And I think I could really help humanity. And then, like I've talked about on your show before, I saw Archangel Michael. I looked up and I looked into his eyes, and this love energy came in and just like filled me with love. And then boop, back in time, back in my body, I'm like set up and I hear the explosion from this rocket. From that point on, they knew that we had been rocketed. So they came out early in the evening and started hammering the sites where this rocket had launched, because it would have been devastating if it had hit. Of course, I'd have been dead, and so would have a lot of other people. So that's that story. So from learning how to like be in that environment, that higher vibrational frequency, fifth dimension, whatever that dimension was that I was in with Archangel Michael, he basically helped inform me of how to use love.
Wow.
Kind of like what I started teaching later.
Mm-hmm.
So from that point on, it was a progressive type thing. I started, and I've talked about this, using it and, projecting it, and how effective it was, and learning how to do it over time. So I started projecting love at Zarqawi. I was just like, how can I defeat this devil, that's our demon that's on Zarqawi? And it came to me after using the love vibration, being informed, okay, use the love vibration, send love out as if every cell in your body is sending it out. I was like, oh, okay. And it helped me get through some difficult times. So I'm starting to understand these frequencies and how these frequencies are effective, and how they can basically change a particular outcome, a timeline, if you will, that you're on, where you're going to die, and you project out love, and it changes the timeline. It changes the outcome. So I got to the point where instead of being in an environment where I'm about to die, I started projecting to what I was remote viewing was coming. So I started projecting the love to these different situations. And then eventually I was like, well, I'm doing it for these, these physical landmarks and situations, the house I'm in, the car that I'm in, nothing's happening. Everybody else is getting blasted, but we're magically, not. What is different? Because I'm sending out the love vibration. I'm keeping us in this realm. It's like this bubble that goes through an environment that's very evil and very dark, and doesn't get affected by it. It's amazing. So it's available to all of us. So I started to say, well, maybe I could send that love to that person that I've seen, and eventually, like I said, I would find out that it was Zarqawi. So Zarqawi was he had basically been in Iraq for quite some time, and he was very, very evil person. And so here we have Zarqawi. If you click on that, I think that'll bring that up.
Let me see here. Oh, I do. Thank you. Yep.
There we go. So here it is. This is the guy that I saw before I knew who he was.
Yep.
So I saw him on a remote view, and his demon. So he had a demon attached to him, which a lot of these people that, bring death and destruction, they almost always, I would say probably, well, could you see an angel of light doing, killing people? No, of course not. Right. So it's basically either someone that has gone very dark, or it is someone that has a demon attached to them, and they have attracted that demon, and it gives them power. So I remote viewed him. I saw him. I got attacked. I learned, how to do the love thing, right? And then I started doing the love thing to him within a year. So he came out after I started sending love to him. They revealed him, and you could see his picture, and they started to show him after I started working on him. Wow. So I learned it usually would take me a year of focusing love on someone, and then they were gone. So many years later, I didn't know how or why he died. I knew that he died in an airstrike. That's all I knew. So I think it was like 4 or 5 years later, I'm in Afghanistan, and a SEAL Team 6 guy that was a Gold Squadron guy. You know, he came in and started working with the CIA too. And we were working in Afghanistan, and he was telling me about this. We're, you know, trading stories, and he's like, yeah, I was on the, you know, Zarqawi mission. I was like, what? It's like, yeah. And of course I didn't tell him, you know, I sent him love and that's why you got it.
Yeah.
You know, I would do that eventually, but only with certain guys. I felt that, you know, because they'd ask me, it's like, we know you're doing stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing stuff. And I would see people like that over the years. They would surprise me. And I remember working with this one Green Beret guy. He was a really sharp guy. I don't know if he was Delta or not. I don't think he was. I think he might have been Delta. And so he's a really sharp guy. And we're working in Yemen. And so we were the only ones in Yemen. It was me, him, and a group of other guys because Yemen was so dangerous at the time. So he's like, we're like buds for a long time, you know, doing moves and stuff. I didn't share any of my stuff, and he didn't talk to me about anything. And when I was leaving, I was like, I got to tell him, you know, I got to tell him because, and so I was like, you know, what I've been doing is I've been surrounding this place with love. And he's like, I know. I was like, you do? It's like, I do that stuff too. And it's like, oh, okay. So you never know. You never know who's involved in this. And between the two of us, you know, we were keeping that place safe. It was, and when I left and he eventually left, that place got blowed up. Right. So I could, over time, I could, you know, leave love energy in a place, but I didn't know how to do it for a long period of time.
Just dropping love bombs.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it, and it stays there for a little while. It has energy, and then it dissipates. And then people would get, you know, blowed up, unfortunately. So because I didn't know how to use it or didn't know how to tap into it, and you can't talk about this to everybody, right? Now me, we have great audiences that understand this stuff or want to learn it, or have open minds to learn it. But this is the thing that would change the world, would change it to the point where anyone is a problem, we send love to them, and it's over. Kind of like, you know, the Jesus, you know, keys of creation. He came in to share a lot of that information through his healing and so forth. So again, the ability to use energy to heal people, which he and Mary Magdalene did together. So that was very, very impactful for, you know, the people that were, and he walked on water, and, you know, he calmed the storms and changed water to wine. So all these things, and he did, you know, a couple loaves of bread and some fish, and everybody got fed. It's like, these miracles, you know, these things that I do, and he said this, you will do, and even greater. So we are doing them. We the people that have basically risen in consciousness over time, you know, thousands of years that you walk the earth, and it takes a while for people to get this stuff. All right. So I've been fortunate to, you know, have been exposed to it. I was right on the cusp where if I'd said, oh, good, I'm dead, I didn't want to be here anyway. I mean, I'm gone, you know. But I was like, bummer. It's like, I really wanted to know. Archangel Michael is like, oh, really? We're going to send you back in then. You know, at the football. Yeah. Coach, put me back in. I think I got a touchdown. So those are always good times too. So you get really super motivated. Coaches like would look at me, and he's like, he's there. And he's like, okay, Jaco, go do it. And it's like, I go in, I score. So
there you go.
I get pumped up. So he'd pull me, and it's like I get all worked up, and I'm like, he's like, go. And it's like, so that's pretty much, you know, what we have the ability to do. We can, you know, project our consciousness. You think of love, you think of people that are, because I do this all the time. I do this with. You
did this on a lot more targets too, even during the last 5 years.
Way more. And so let's look at another one that everybody would recognize. Yeah. I'm gonna share the screen.
Go ahead. I'm ready. There you go.
Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton stumbling as she left the 9/11 commemoration in New York City this morning. A statement from Clinton's.
So I've been working on her for a year. Now, I don't just like randomly go, Hillary Clinton's bad. I knew that. All right. I knew she was an evil witch. But I don't choose normally who I go after. I do now. But at the time, I would get the call. I'd be like, okay, this is your target. And you will work on this until this target is either of the light or is gone.
Yeah.
So this was what I did. When you're seeing Hillary Clinton here, I had worked on her for a year. So she has basically been, at this point, you see all these people around her. She's being taken away. And this is the last time we saw Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
And says she felt overheated and she went to her daughter's apartment to get her bearings. Let's watch this video for a second.
Now you see her stumbling here. She's handcuffed. People can't see it, but she's handcuffed. Now I've heard people say that she had leg cuffs as well, but I can't. And I saw someone where they broke it down. I saw it, but I can't see it in this one. But she was cuffed up and she was taken away. And this is the last we saw of Hillary Clinton. Now they had used she had clones that were used because she was being taken apart, right? Because I was sending love to her, and she's an evil witch, and her witchdom was not working, and her demonic forces or whatever were working with her. I'm not involved in that like I was with Zorkawi, and I got almost killed. All right, so now I was working from a distance. Now eventually I would get to the point where I am now is I go right to the demon and I defeat the demon completely.
Wow.
And I send the demon to the light, or I completely departiculate the demons, depending on what I'm guided to do. All right. So I've done that with other people too. Biden never went into office because I worked on him before he went into office. Kamala never went into office because I worked on her. So you saw doubles, and if you still see them, it's those doubles, but you very, very rarely see them now because, they use these people, over time. But so let's move into. So of course there was a point where she was at the Democratic convention, and her clone was being used, right? And so clones. They're basically our DNA, and our DNA is, created to be just like it is, at a certain point. It used to take some time, but they can do it fairly quickly now, within a month or more or less. I don't know what their technology is now, but they can create clones very quickly now. At the time, the clones weren't as good. They would only last a certain period of time. So they had like a lot of clones on backup, ready to go, and they have to train the clones. The clones have to be trained, with the consciousness of that person. So if people ask them questions and so forth. But if they're just going to a certain event, they'll just train them in a certain event, because training them over their whole life. So somebody comes up to them and says, "Remember the time we were together back in 1965, and you were on the water, and you were a cheerleader or whatever." And she was like, "I don't even know what you're talking about." They'd be like blank look, because they weren't programmed with that information. So when she went to some of these places, she went to that convention, they had a surprise where they had fireworks and balloons and all that kind of stuff. And she's like, looked at it and she went, she freaked out because she didn't know how to deal with that. So she had a little malfunction. Yeah. Well, you can see people that are like that. And there's another one where she was at a coffee shop, and I think she tried some coffee, and she's like, "I've never had coffee like that before." So, that's the clones. Yep. So during that time frame, I'm working on her. So she, on a physical level, is being impeded from going out and doing these events. Mm-hmm. And eventually they got her there and took her away. And then we've only seen body doubles or clones at this point ever since that point, or ever since that time. Now there's others. I'll bring this one up. This one is very interesting. Mullah Omar, because
Wow.
when I took Mullah Omar out, everybody was like, he's still alive. And I'm like, no, he's gone. And they would say, you don't know what you're talking about. And I would be, yes, I do. Mullah Omar is gone. And I can see this in people. Now, Mullah Omar, he was basically killed in a drone strike. And the Taliban, because he worked back and forth across Pakistan. I was in Pakistan for several years, taking out these terrorists with his consciousness. And Mullah Omar was a very big problem. So my group got him as a target. So when my group would get a target, I'd be like, here goes the love vibration, right? And within a year, they were gone. So a lot of people had tried to take him out over the years, for many years, and no one had been successful. And so I started focusing on him. We would get guys that would come from the provinces where he was located, and they would give us information about him. And so I would like light up those people that I knew were going to go back and have interactions with him with the love frequency, so that they would pass it on to him. So it's another way you can do this. You can have energetics that go to different people that are going to be around these other people that are bad. And so they don't get any energy or any help from these people. So this was a double agent we're working with. And so he's going back and forth. And then we got information of where Mullah Omar was going to be. And we did the drone strike on him. And then we're like, okay, did it work? And so he comes back and he says, hello, you can't shoot the missile when he gets out of the vehicle, because he walked through the gate. And as he's walking through the gate, the missile hit and it damaged him. It hurt him, almost killed him. But you got to like right away when he's in the car, he's in the car, you got to like blow the car. So we're getting schooled by, this, this terrorist. And so I'm thinking, yeah, okay. Hopefully it gets through. So then there was a period of time where, he was really laying low. And then eventually we got his location again. So they didn't mess up with the drone strike this time. So they hit him, and I felt it, because when they had hit him, I'm feeling, he's still alive. I knew it. And the second time, which took almost another year, because I've been working on it for several months. And then we got to that point where it gets, whatever that is, got to that year point. And that's when that drone strike got him. So the missile hit him, blew him to pieces. And the Taliban didn't want to admit that he'd been killed. So they had a double, for a while, for like 2 years.
Wow.
So I'm telling everybody he's dead. God, guys, he's dead. And they're like, you don't know what you're talking about. We got the guy coming from the province who's still alive. I'm like, he's dead. And so eventually they admitted he was dead. Right. So that was a big one, almost as big as Osama bin Laden. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So there was another one that I got. This one was shortly after that, Fallujah. Fazlullah. So I always had trouble with his name, but Fazlullah was another guy that created a lot of. Pakistan was getting blown up during this time frame on a massive level. So this guy, this is around 2018, as you see here, is his bye-bye date, 15 June 2018. So again, I worked on him for a year. We had people that were, telling us about, where he was, and they had learned, how to do the drone strikes correctly. Right? I was sending him the love vibration. He did a lot of operations in Afghanistan and in Pakistan. So we crossed the border and have his crew, his terrorist crew, go back and forth, because they work one side of the border, killing people, and then they come back over. And this guy was very negative when it came to women and girls. He and his crew blew up a girls' school that killed over 100 girls. So I was very motivated to take him out, right? Yeah. So eventually he got taken out as well. So year working on him as well, and boom, he gets blown up. So all of these people, you're like, Mike, you're just as bad as they are. No, these are evil people that have the opportunity. I'm sending them love.
Yep.
I'm not fighting them like I thought I was going to fight that demon and learn that they're much more powerful than we are in that realm with their negative frequencies, right? I'm a positive frequency guy. I try and go in and fight negative frequency, which I learned you can't do. And I got almost killed, or did get killed. I get put back, you know? So I learned to stay eventually in that frequency, love frequency, and fight, if you will, not as a warrior, but come in and project incredible amounts of light. Mm-hmm. In the beginning, there was light, right? So, you know, Genesis. So good God created us through light. We're light beings. Mm-hmm. So I basically, because they're without light, they're dark. So I'm sending them light. They don't like it because they're very powerful in those dark realms, you know, and they're dark magic and they're evil and, you know, capturing other people with fear and using their energy from their people that have fear, like during COVID and so forth. So we can overcome that by sending all of this love. And that's what I learned over time. All I did was send them love. They had the option of coming to the light, the love, right? Yep. The frequency of love, that light frequency. And they chose not to. The demons that were attached to them could not, you know, work in that frequency. So they abandoned them, made them vulnerable, and then they were taken out.
Well, it conjures up images of the Wicked Witch of the West in the Wizard of Oz. As soon as, you know, the sunlight is beamed on her, there you go. She's melting and can choose to, you know, join the side of light. And then when you look at I was just checking the biblical references and talking about the word love. Okay, so again, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. That's Isaiah 54:17. Romans 12:21 says, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Our friend Bishop Jim O'Connor has said, you know, Psalm 21, and this is what Colonel Sellers says every morning and every evening as well with his combat rosary from when he was in Delta Force. He got a new one actually after his last demon that he took out, the lieutenant from Satan himself. Bishop Jim knew the name, but he does the Psalm 21, and the stories of Psalm 21 can go back to World War I and World War II, where entire companies, there was an American company in World War I and a British battalion in World War II would say Psalm 21 every morning, before they would go into combat. And not one man was ever harmed, not a hair on his head, no wounded in action. And these were World War I for the Americans in World War II. So you talk about a vibration that's getting out there, everybody. And to summarize, you know, looking at how many times the word love is used in the different variations of the Bible. It says this in the Roman Catholic Bible, which includes the full 73 book canon with the Deuterocanonical books. The word love appears hundreds of times. Wow. And the exact counts of Catholic English translations from Douay Rheims 1899 American edition, 452 results. And in the New American Bible Revised Edition, which is typically in the United States, is 569 results. So everybody, you're hearing love, frequency, psionics, like Michael, you were mentioning earlier. You know, you just use the mental picture to go sweep somebody, you know, like take the clothes off, right? Take their energy out, and then that's it. There are masters, Shaolin masters, Bushido masters, several others who can just point a finger at somebody from the other side of the room, and they can just do this. And that individual can feel as if a steel rebar is being pushed right through their body. And that's all from directing forms of energy. But the highest form is love, is light, that enlightened vibration. Like the Maharishi effect And I started with transcendental meditation in October 2011 and been doing it almost every day since, twice a day. Is sitting there where you have the studies, and this is just for anybody who needs relevance or data that they can pull in on, which is great. You know, you don't have to take our word for it. You can find stuff out. They had a group of like 200 people who meditated in Washington, D.C. in the 80s. Crime rates dropped like 35%. And these are violent crime rates. So they are murders, serial murders, as well as rapes, violent crime and assault with deadly weapons and force dropped over 35%, something like just a matter of a few days by meditating there and sending out a love vibration into Washington, D.C.
Yeah, so here's the power of prayer, and literally in war. Patton asked his one of the pastors to create a prayer, because the Battle of the Bulge was happening. The Germans were pushing into American lines, defeating the Americans on every turn. There was the fighting bastards, they called them a Bastogne, had refused to surrender, and Patton wanted to help them. And so they needed good weather so that they would get air, because they had air superiority, but they had bad weather. And so they wouldn't get support from the aircraft. Yep. So Patton had this pastor basically come up with a prayer, pass it out to all of the soldiers. The soldiers said the prayer. They got good weather. They went in, they freed Bastogne, and they drove the Germans back. So again, the power of prayer, or the power of love, the power of good, positivity, and so forth, push back on evil at the time and defeated it. All right. Amazing. So that's kind of, I work hand in hand with that. But at this point, I'm at the point where I don't need armies to help me.
Yep.
All right. So another time when armies helped me was Osama bin Laden. So Osama bin Laden was probably the top person of all the people that I had gone after at the time. There's been others, but at that time, everybody knows about Osama bin Laden. So we've been hunting Osama bin Laden for well over a decade. The CIA had. So I was like, I'm my target, comes into my mind. God's like, your target, if you should choose to take on it, possible. So I'm like, but I never refuse. I'm like, one with God is pretty cool. But I got that you're going after Zarqawi or Osama bin Laden now. So I'm like, okay, that's a good one, because I've wanted this one. So thank you. So I looked at him. He had a demon on him. So I was like, okay, just send him the love, send him the love, send him the love. Then things started happening. Me and a case officer in Peshawar at the time. It was just me and one other security guy. They'd really cut down the numbers in this base. There was only me and one other guy. And they were like, they'd kind of given up on finding Osama bin Laden. And so I'm sending out the bubble. I'm seeing him. I kind of know where he's at too. Is close to Islamabad, where I saw him, and that's where my old team, SEAL Team 6, went in and got him. So I'm sending them love, and then we're working with this. This doctor shows up that had been working on the border with guys coming back wounded from Afghanistan. He was patching them up. These are terrorist guys and Taliban and so forth. And so we're trying to get him. Do you know where Osama bin Laden is? He's like, no, I don't hear from him. No one knows. And so we're working with him. And so the CIA basically put out an edict where if you're working with somebody downrange and they don't give you information about Osama bin Laden, get rid of them. And so she's ready to get rid of him. And I'm like, wait, I think he's going to lead us to Osama bin Laden. And she looked at me queerly, and she's like, okay, I'll stick with him. So then he did. So they had an idea that he was in this one compound right next to the ISI, which is the CIA equivalent, where they had a base. Right, his compound was right next to that. How about that? Yeah. So the
in plain sight.
The the corruption so deep in so many different areas. But this love frequency breaks through that.
Yeah.
He was being protected. And then I think because I was working on him, people started to get wind of where he was, because I was weakening his ability and the people around him that were protecting him to stay protected. So it started to filter out there that they're owned to us. And so I think that Barack Obama's like, well, can we use this for our benefit for the next election? And everybody's like, yes. So that's what I think happened. So again, you don't know why or what is going to make this happen. All you do is send the love.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned. I just send the love, right? And you need to protect yourself also. So you bubble yourself up and you think about the love, because very, very strong chance that you're going to bump up against some demonic realm stuff, and they're going to come back and find out where that's coming from.
Moths to a flame. Yep.
Yeah. So you have to be very much in that love vibration, in which I was, and I understood that. So I was sending love. The doctor went, there's like, we think he's in this compound, go check the kids. So we went in to the compound. He was like, oh, I'm a free doctor. And, I'm just trying to make sure, we don't spread diseases and so forth. And, he played up really well. He was a pretty good guy. And he basically did tongue suppressors on all the kids and put the tongue suppressors in a bag, brought the bag back. A couple of the kids are like, those are Osama bin Laden's kids. So he's down. And so that's when they decided to go in and hit that compound. And that's, the rest is history. I was there when it happened. I was sending a lot of love frequency there, because we know they had that helo crash.
Yep.
They were being protected, right? So there's a lot of that. None of those guys were injured. Everyone that had a gun died. And Osama bin Laden came out from around a corner with a AK-47, and he got shot. And I saw the results of that shot, where half his head, this side of his head, was blown off, where he peeked around the corner with his gun.
Yep.
And the guys that were coming up first, Rob O'Neill, basically shot him, and boom, that was it. And I saw that picture within an hour of that. And when you see back at the White House, where you see Hillary Clinton, she's like, and you see all those people are like, they're seeing that same photo where his side of his head's blown off, right? So,
Tim Osmond, I recruited you. I'm so sorry. You just got our
exactly.
next election, right?
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. We used
Maybe.
to all the way up to this point to take down the Russians, and now we don't need you anymore, and people are on you, so we're just going to sacrifice you and make ourselves look good from your sacrifice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're evil.
My gosh.
It's evil. You start to see all that eventually.
It's evil, and on top of that, the counterpoint to that is incredible, because you're literally the point of the show, everybody, and Michael and I were pulling this one together for this month, is the God level weapon that ends worse. Now, love can be the greatest weapon, and the absence of love is darkness, is hate, is anger, is fear. And in the Bible, speaking of fear, it keeps saying, I think it's 365 times in the Roman canonical 73 books, 365 times, thou shalt not fear. Do not fear. So again, fear, absence of love from that, you derive faith, joy, happiness, confidence, just like we saw with Bruce Lee, and that you are leveraging remote viewing, love bubble, reading intuitively into different states and different realms of which we're all part of. And years ago, I might have said, man, these are superhuman skills. I totally believe that these are skills that are just part of our human nature, which have been blocked off, suppressed, and also not told us about, that we are all capable of. Just like we're all capable of walking, running, and sprinting, as long as we have, the two good legs, or maybe we might need a prosthetic, God forbid somebody's born without a leg, or, is an amputee. But we just have to be taught these things. Yeah. But that teaching comes from a realization of who you are as a soul and as a physical vessel, and that trinity as well we look at as the body, mind, soul, right? And tapping into all three of those so you can leverage it like the Bruce Lee, leverage it like you were with Paul Vunak and Mr. Tony Blauer, you know, on a show we did a little while ago last year.
Tony, yeah, Tony's awesome. Yeah,
Tony is awesome. Yeah,
he's another one that taught us. So he had really refined skills, and I think they've refined a lot more over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, I've got I think another show we're going to do in the summertime.
Oh, nice.
But the key thing, yeah, Canadian, right? Montreal or living in Cali, you know, just doing it all. The key thing here for everybody is Michael's also shared with you beings of light, and we're talking about light. And so from my experience with this was 25 something years ago, receiving a Reiki session. I thought the girl's hands were on my belly. She was reading into things for me from my childhood. It was a really beautiful story. I've shared that before. I'm not going to go into all of it. Turns out she was on the other side of the room, but I felt her warm energy right over my stomach, which is our power plexus. And we know these things like Reiki, these things that you do, Michael, they can be tracked, studied, measured, and even photographed through electromagnetic equipment, Carolean photography, aura photography. And we have it here for anybody who is, you know, you're new to this. We're not speaking woo-woo whatsoever. And here it is, 84, German scientist Fritz Albert Popp had discovered light emanating from living things. I think we've known about this for a lot longer than that in the last century, but here's the aura photography and light that has been emanating from sentient creatures, an apple, you know, a tree, a flower, and it's all pretty powerful. And when you look at this too, the activation of our God code and our molecule, I have another video here for everybody to enjoy, because through our day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, we kind of forget who we are and what we're here to do. And if you really realize the magnificence, I would say the blessing of who you are and how you came to be on this planet, you would have another level of gratitude, even though we have challenging times, for why you should be in love with yourself first and foremost, self-love, and then expressing that in the world. And here it is, just a few seconds.
Microscope. It's an egg, and showing the moment of conception. The moment the sperm enters the egg, there is now documented source of light that enters the egg. The moment of conception, the very moment that the sperm enters the egg, there is a flash of light.
And I'm just going to turn down his volume and go back there, because, you know, we talk about keys of creation, the movie Code of Creation coming out, which just premiered in Hollywood on all of this. But look at this. A luminous flash of light surrounding that egg when the sperm enters. That to me is a soul right there taking up residence. What are your thoughts, Michael?
Yeah, the God light. Yeah. So coming in and activating and then growing, you know, multiplying, and each one of those cells from that point on has light. And the absence of light within the body usually causes disease and pain, suffering, wounds, and so forth. So bringing light back into a body, you know, like we're doing with the water machine, which basically is the only machine ever to infuse water, 6 you know, different levels of you know, frequencies of light, 6 different frequencies of light into the water, and helps reverse the aging process. We can't make claims, of course, but you know, there's been people have some amazing results, but and a lot of us have had incredible results by, you know, the patches, the X39 and the Celergize combined. The Celergize AM has monk fruit in it, which is basically activates the stem cells along with X39. So we're basically turning back the clock and helping the body heal faster helping higher levels of performance, and super athletes have incredible levels of performance. I've been having incredible levels of performance. You've been having incredible levels of performance. Everyone on the batch has incredible levels of performance and healing and capabilities and so forth that, we're pretty much gone. Yeah. And it's all coming back. So there you are. We have the future medicine will be medicine of frequencies, the frequencies that, I was talking about. And there was that one video in the Matrix, I believe it was the first one, where Neo basically learns the frequencies of light, and he sees the frequencies of light. And once he sees the frequencies of light, he can defeat, the evil Matrix guy. So one of them comes up to him, and he looks at the periphery. He doesn't even look at him anymore. Remember how I said, when you look at the periphery, it activates that higher level of consciousness. And so when I would fight and I would teach people to fight, I would have them, you don't focus on something because it puts you in, it turns off your peripheral and your alpha brain waves and pushing you into gamma. So you learn how to like move and look at the corner, and I'll teach people how to like look down, because you see a larger view, and you get more information. The information comes into you on another level so that you can move. When I would fight, when I would move, because we would push it right to that level where it was real. If I'd gone a little bit further, then I'm killing somebody. So we would learn how to push to that level safely, because we had really good control that we learned over time. But I would fight a room of people, 30 people, and they would come at me, and I would feed the whole room. And as I would defeat someone, kill them, not completely, but almost to that point, they know they were killed. So I would use snap her neck, crush her throat, whatever, and they would fall, and then like in the Matrix, they'd come back again and start coming at me again. So 3 minutes, I would kill hundreds of people, but I could do that because I was in that level of consciousness,
right?
Frequency. And once you hit that frequency, then if you want to understand the universe, think of energy, frequency, and vibration. So we have all these scientists, and I love science. So if I didn't become an ABC, I would have been a scientist. But I feel like I'm kind of achieving that now, because we're in this incredible frequency, vibrational energy of the patches and the water, where I get to, I get to experience it, and I get to talk about it, I get to share it. So that's one of the things that, has been very cool for me. So in that movie, The Matrix, Neo starts seeing the light, and they come at him, and he like turns, and he's like, they're moving at a hyper level, kind of like what you saw with Bruce Lee. And he's like, boop, 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 and then boom,
nothing.
Well, he like just destroys them. And then everybody else is like, holy moly, and they run away. So that's the light frequency, and that's the love frequency, because you have to go all the way to the end to see that Neo and his partner were about love, right? And that was a beautiful thing at the end, where you saw that everything that they had done up to that point had been about love, right? And when they really reached that level of love, that's when they were most effective.
Well, right. The adage that I know growing up, and it's been around for generations, is love conquers all. And when we're speaking about consciousness, let's put it this way. If consciousness, light, and intention affect reality, then what does it mean for technologies which can enhance ourselves, right? What does it mean for technologies built around light, frequency, like we mentioned, the structured water? And just imagine, the diet, everybody, also includes what you listen to, what you watch, right? It's not just what you're putting in your mouth. It's also what's in the glass. I had to spend almost $72 US to get good water down here in Central America, and 64 the previous week. So I'm at about a run rate of like $70 a week US just to get drinking water. And it's not the X2OR machine, but on a weekly basis, that's about $3,500. over a course of a year, amortized, to get, good Italian bottled glass water down in Central America that comes from Italy, right? Because they don't have anything here that isn't, it's mountain spring water, but then it's in a plastic bottle that's sat out in the sun, typically in a crate, and it's 100 degrees right now down here during dry season coming into it. And so the diet is everything. It's all around us, right? It's the frequencies. And, when I saw just X3949, I had many of my, what I call healing miracles with this. And since X39 in conjunction with Celergize, right, it gets our stem cells going because it won the Stem Cell Innovation of the Year award. And I've had extreme discomfort. People have had extreme discomfort, and these little guys have removed that. And you can look at videos of me, and I'm very, very young now, after 2.5 years of wearing this little patch, which I effectively call a sticker, but I'm told that a sticker dilutes the value of something that can activate your copper peptides, which then has a supply chain reaction, which activates your stem cells in your genome, based on Lauren Picard's 50 years of research in GHKCU in doing that. So then that's light. And we've seen people who have worn X39 and the X49 that I put on the screen here, right, wearing this, and it does help block most EMFs based on the studies, and doing so even in scanners at airports. And they're glowing. They're glowing like we just saw in this freaking amazing stem cell activation of the God molecule of sperm fertilizing an egg. Boom. So just imagine you're walking around with technology, because we can't be switched on in a gamma state of environment 24/7, right? Putting out spiritual protection and whatnot. So we have these things to enhance our lives. And it's truly amazing. And for women too, by the way, with the X49, the study has found it supports bone and muscle health in aging women. And we've had many people share those success stories to that very fact with it as well. Over to you, Michael.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, women. We have Dr. Stacy that she's very well versed on all this. She got a huge business. She was talking on the Lifeway Water the other 2 days ago, I think it was, and she's talking about how she's 51, she still has her period, and her period is even better now. I can't know what that means, but she said it's even better now. So
half the flow and half the amount of days. Usually it was 6 or 7 days, she said the other night, since she was 12. It's down to 2 or 3 days, and it's a lot lighter and better. Those are her words.
And no pain, discomfort. Some women, that makes sense. So we're and you speak very, very eloquently. I love to listen to you talk about the patches. But it was funny too, because you have a green screen, and you were like moving your hand, and it was all glowing. So I was like, oh yeah, he's glowing.
Yeah, exactly. Raising the roof. Yeah.
And that's the way, guys. If you want to look at energy, don't look directly at something. You can do this with your hand. It's a little technique where you hold it out and you don't actually look at it. You look at the peripheral, and you'll start to see the frequency of it. And you can do this with trees and all kind of stuff. But maybe some of you guys, I remember I was teaching this to my kids, and they're like rolling their eyes, and they're like, okay, I'm not teaching you guys this stuff anymore. Get out of here. So.
Yeah, it's truly amazing. Well, I have to, unfortunately, I'm being texted that I'm on a live show in 4 minutes.
Nice.
And with John. So they are wanting me to jump onto that right now, everybody. So this is how we do it live, right? And want to appreciate everybody who has been here with us from the beginning. And like I mentioned toward the introduction of this show, Michael and I are so blessed to be on the #1 team in the world for LifeWave. That's thanks to his leadership, by the way. So tier 1 guy, still crushing records whatsoever in everything that he does. And our entire team is here for you. So the links below the description that you see right here, you can see the proof, the videos, the testimonies, the patents on this light technology, biophototherapy, X39, 49, and the X2O water technology that has 2 new elements never before seen on Earth being added to the periodic table invented by David Schmidt, and 20 patents where they had to open a new division at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office because this is water never foreseen on Earth that is infused with light and is all part of the Code of Creation documentary film that is coming out on Apple TV, Amazon Prime, and Netflix in the next 2 months. So thank you all for being here. Michael, thank you so much for what you do. And I'm on that live show right now, so I'll just hang up with everybody and jump over there to Sandy and John. Mahalo. Thank you for your service, and thank you, everybody. God bless.
God bless.
Thanks for joining us on the program, ladies and gentlemen. Please like, follow, subscribe, share this with 9 friends and family. And of course, if you enjoy our Blinked Buddha firing red pills from his 9mm, let us know.